Today I want to talk about the right shoulder. The right shoulder has a huge influence on when we take the golf club away. The reason being is that this right arm, when we set up to the golf ball, has, depending on when it flexes, a huge influence on the shoulder. Now, the virtue of the shoulder, when it rides up or sits down, will really influence how the right hip works. So when the right shoulder in the backswing starts to feel like it can sit down and move around, what it'll allow us to do is really start to feel how this right arm can flex. When the right arm can flex in a backswing, we really start to feel like this golf club can load itself. Now, Barney, what do you want? Now we've put Barney back, let's get on. The right shoulder, because the right arm has a huge influence on it, and how that right arm sets and loads in the backswing has a lot to do with where you place your right hand on the golf club. You can see that over a period of time, that if you were a golfer that had a right hand, let's say, too strong, the right hand sits underneath. And I would have to say, out of all of the golfers that I see on my lesson tee, more often than not, the right hand sits too much underneath the golf club. And what this invariably does is it causes that right forearm to internally rotate. And when that right forearm starts to internally rotate, I tend to see more right arms sitting on top of the left arm than I do anything else. So it looks a little like this on a backswing. Now, this is one of the reasons why we then start to see golf clubs being taken away too low, which, before you know it, depending on the orientation of your left hand, could produce one of those shots to the left, too much from the inside. Equally, then when you start to hit those shots to the left, when you've got that right arm on top, you then start to shift your path out to the right to appease it. So that's how that right arm would start to work if you were a golfer with the right hand too much underneath. For someone that has a right hand that's too much on top, what you might start to see is too much of a tuck too soon. And what that can then really allow is that face to get too opened up, which obviously then when you start hitting them, you'll tend to start to come back with a more of an open face. Now, what I like to do in my videos, and if you've not watched many of my videos, I like to explain what the negatives are first, and I then give you some remedies of how to fix. So understand that the right hand placement on the golf club will ultimately set the way your right arm works, which obviously then starts to change how your right shoulder works. Now, I'm going to give you a little drill here to give you a good sensation of how your shoulders should work. Got the TheraBand back out, and what I want you to do is take the TheraBand and place it in the last 3 fingers of both of your hands. Last 3 fingers. And now what I want you to do is pull the band out to the side. Then as we pull the band out to the side, I want you to pull it into your belt line. And you can see that I'm pulling it back, and what that will start to do, and sorry to turn my butt to you, is it will start to pull your shoulders back. And then what I want you to do is push the band down. So you're pulling it back across and push down so arms are straight. And now what I want you to do is just feel how your right hip and your right shoulder start to work in unison. And what you're doing is, as you're pushing the band down and into your legs, it's allowing you to keep the structure of your right shoulder. So I'm pushing down, pulling back towards the camera. Now as I make a backswing, now I can really see and feel how that right shoulder's sat down. Then I keep that height of that shoulder, I make a backswing. I now lift my arm up without corrupting the shape of that right shoulder. And now all of a sudden you get a sense of where that shoulder should be. The elevation of that shoulder can really start to compromise you from the middle of your chest upwards. So the shoulder sat down, the forearm turned out, make a backswing. That is where we'd like to start to see the right shoulder and how the right forearm needs to behave to allow that shoulder to get in the right set. So I now get myself turned out with my hands, pull the arms in and sit them down. Don't need a TheraBand for that, but the TheraBand has loaded your shoulders to give you that feeling. And now as we make a backswing, I'm really feeling that shoulder out and down. I'm now going to make a backswing. At the top of the backswing, that feeling of turned out and sat down really starts to feel like that right arm can really allow the weight of the head to sit down. So it really switches itself off. Now understand that if you are a golfer that has made swings and at a certain time in your life you've seen the golf ball do that, this right shoulder in your backswing will have fired itself up to try to help you hit the ball straighter. Because what that right shoulder high does gives you the opportunity to get the face looking more at the target, ball line. And that will allow you to hit the golf shot straighter. And of course, if the hold is incorrect, and then you sit that shoulder down and the face is pointed in the wrong orientation, what you'll then do is hit that shot and you'll go, Stuart, that was the worst piece of advice you ever gave me, to sit your shoulder down. So therefore, when we get that shoulder to sit down, which will start to make you hold shape with your posture that you have created at address, and that posture that you've created at address is part and parcel of this feeling, which you can find out more about up at that video there. As I keep my structure set up with my posture, now when I set the golf club back, this right shoulder sitting down and feeling like it's in a good orientation at the top really starts to make me feel like I can swing through and hit golf shots. Something like that. If you're tired of paying too much for your premium leather golf gloves, head over to gxgolfgloves.com. These are premium leather golf gloves that are trusted by tour players and elite amateurs alike. Use my code GOODGOLFCOACHING for 10% off your next order, and I promise you, you won't ever look back. Because all of a sudden the structure in my shoulders, because of the way I've used my arms, which has been allowed to be developed because of my grip, all start to piece together. Do check out my grip series, because that will really help you with making that right shoulder sit in the right shape, which will change the way that right forearm needs to work. So get yourself a TheraBand, allow yourself to change the way you feel that shoulder sit down on your rib cage, switch the shoulders on, get the form and function of them. With the right grip, you'll start to feel how you can start to load the golf club, load the shoulders in the backswing, which will allow you to start to move the golf club a little bit better in your backswing. That's a bit straighter. And hopefully that will make you play some nicer golf. Thank you so much for watching. I think you'll find, as usual, that's good coaching.